Welcome to Journey Through the Innerverse. Alexis and I are here with a nice archive chat. It's been a little bit since we released an archive chat, and I'm really excited about this one. This one is focused on dreams that spiritually awaken you. And before we get into the details on this archive chat, I just want to check in and ask Alexis, how are you doing today? How's everything been going since we've last had our live chat?
It has been quite a busy week since our last chat, but I feel really good. I did go to Ren Fair this weekend, and I had a moment where on my way to Ren Fair, I had like a dream flashback that like the location I was in that dream before. And I know we talked about this before we went on, but I still like every time I have a predictive dream and it occurs like in real life, it's always the same exact feeling of like, holy shit, I've been here before. And like the location that I went to for Ren Fair, I've never been. So the only other time I went to Ren Fair, it was in PA, and this time I was in New York, and I had never been to this area. So when it happened, it was just like mind blowing. But other than that, I've just been really busy working on art, prepping for an art show. And today I cleaned the absolute living crap out of my living room, which felt amazing. And yeah, it's just this bringing on the new month, into the new season. I'm feeling great. How are you?
Yeah. Firstly, let me just say that I am like, that's just so exciting to have that experience of like, I've been here before. Like I can relate in many different ways to that. So that's exciting, especially when you're going to like a Renaissance festival. Like that's so cool. And I think it's really interesting that you and I are like this year, we both are going to Renaissance festivals like outside of like our state, not the place that we usually go to. And
Hmm.
I'm in New York and I'm going to the Renaissance Festival in October in Maryland, which I haven't been in a very long time, in over 10 years. So I'm really, really excited. I'm really excited to be there during or close to Halloween. So hopefully I have some exciting stories to share. But yeah, and likewise, it has been a really, really busy time for me. A lot of things starting, as some of you will probably know, and we're recording this September 2nd of 2025, and there is an eclipse that's coming forth this weekend on
Oh yeah.
September 7th, I believe. Yeah, 7th is Sunday. So I feel the intensity. Alexis, I know you've been feeling the intensity. We've all been feeling this intensity for the past like week. So it's only building and building and building. But I'm really looking forward to eclipse season because I know, like, I already see like the doors opening. I see the accelerated change. And with the lunar eclipse, which is what we're going to be experiencing this weekend, which is in Pisces. So I'm just like, whoa, what is this going to be? Um, I really like the lunar eclipses. Essentially, they are moments where a chapter is closing. So it's bringing like a final conclusion on something, making peace with something. Of course, you want to look to where Pisces is in your birth chart. And if you have any placements in Pisces, that will give you some sort of understanding as well of the nature of what your experience might be or the chapter that's ending. Also, Saturn is retrograde and is going to be moving back into Pisces very soon. And so there's just a lot going on in the Pisces parts of our chart. And what I really feel is interesting too is that we began this podcast with a Pisces on the day of a Pisces lunar eclipse. Yeah, it was a full moon
Yep.
eclipse. So I'm just like, I'm really excited to see what comes forth, but also, I'm moving slowly. And with that said, I do want to share that I am postponing the dream class I was teaching this weekend on the eclipse. The dream class is Dreaming with the Moon. I'm going to postpone that to a later date. And so I will inform you all more than likely next week or the following week when we chat what that new date will be.
with the Pisces eclipse coming in, and my Saturn is in Pisces, and with it retrograding back into Pisces, like I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen? What fun experience am I going to move through? What lessons are coming up my way, or doors closing because, we're opening. But I'm very
Both,
I
yeah.
dare to say excited.
Yeah. Everyone just breathe, take your time, take naps, nourish yourself, drink water, take baths, whatever you got to do to like ground yourself, to nurture yourself. Just take care of yourself. Take it easy. I feel is like the main message, and really pay attention to your dreams over the next couple weeks, because eclipse season is a powerful time for the dream space. So we'll see what comes forth with that.
Absolutely. And I will definitely be paying attention to my dreams. My dreams, I don't know if you have been having a similar experience, but my dreams have been like kickstarting into their, like with their intensity. So I just am noticing I'm traveling a lot more, and I need to get my ass in gear and get that shit documented and not let it like just sit in the ether.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm having big changes in my dream space too. So I can't wait to talk during our dark moon dream reflection, because I've noticed a major change. And I haven't even really shared it with you because we've been so busy. So I
Yeah.
might just hold on to that
Ooh,
until then if I can.
I'm so
That's like
excited.
a couple weeks. So I'm like, oh, but nonetheless, here we are.
Right. Well, I'll go right into our next announcement then. So Urania and I are working with a developing app called Dreamigos. It is a dream recording app where there's multiple ways for you to record your dreams, and if you want, you can keep them private, but you also have the option to share them to the Dreamline, so experts like Urania and I can join in the conversation and give some interpretation and guidance. Another really cool aspect about this app is that one, there's no AI, which, everything nowadays is AI. Everybody working on the app are real people. And if you download the app and sign up today, you have access to the free monthly Dream Circle. So I think this month we are doing it on September 30th. That's Tuesday, September 30th at 8 p.m. I'll be co-hosting with another dream expert, Andrea, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So you can get this on the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Go download it today and have access to all of the fun stuff.
Okay, with that said, let's go ahead and get into our archive chat. And again, the topic is dreams that awaken you. So we're going to talk about how our dreams can stimulate or bring forth a spiritual awakening.
Our live episode took place on August 7th of 2024, and in this episode we do a deep dive on what a spiritual awakening is and what it looks like in your dream space.
Great. So everyone enjoy, and let us know your thoughts in the comments, or your questions, or your experiences with spiritual awakening from your dream space. Until then. The topic tonight is how a series of dreams can lead to a spiritual awakening. It doesn't necessarily have to be a series of dreams. It can be one really profound dream, but I feel most of the time it is a series of dreams. So I want to begin the chat by discussing what a spiritual awakening really is. And Alexis, I know you came across an interesting article that you're going to share about. I just did a quick Google search because I have tons of spiritual books in my
Yes.
home. But again, I'm going to remind you guys that I was like pushing up against the clock, right? And
Yeah,
so I
and
was
you
like,
already have the information in your head. You know it.
right. I just love, I know it. I could have jotted it down myself, which I added
Yeah.
some things, but I love, just seeing what else is out there and whatnot. And so I just love going in the dictionary. It's fun to me. So what came up, in the Google search is that a spiritual awakening is a personal experience that can involve a shift in mindset, emotions, and mental awareness. And I threw in there also that it's this experience of a revelation, a profound aha moment, a personal realization. And that aha moment, that revelation usually will result in a feeling of expansion and inspiration. Like initially, that's what you might feel, of course, as things unfold, and then the mind comes in, the ego comes in and just like check you like, that's not possible, and like started
Yep.
throwing all these things in. Then comes in the other kind of intense emotions and challenges that come forth with that process and just being in the experience of a spiritual awakening. But what did you come across, Alexis?
So I found another definition that I took also from Google. I was just kind of looking at all the different ones and seeing how they align. I really liked this one. A spiritual awakening is a process that can lead to a deeper awareness of the self and higher consciousness. Um, and when I was looking up awakening, I came across a really wonderful article on Psychology Today, and it goes over the different aspects, the different domains of awareness. So I'm going to do just a quick run by, and this is something that you can, when you're, it gives you a little bit of a better understanding of what to look out for, what you're going through during these awakenings. So the first one is perceptual awareness. And this is when a person awakens to the world around them. So things feel more vivid, more real, more alive. And I'm quoting this. The article author, who I'm sorry, I'm completely forgetting the name of, and I will go back to later.
We can post the link to the
Yes,
article in the
that
description of
would
the
be
video. Yeah.
good. But he said it's as if the veil falls away and suddenly an extra dimension of reality is added to your world.
Mm.
So that's like the first real stage. Like you have this awakening and you realize like, okay, the smell of the rain is so beautiful. The sky, the depth of the sky, it's so far away and yet so close. The ladybug or the ants around you are living their own like lives, the plant, like everything. It's like acknowledging, it's like the stopping and smelling the roses type of effect. So then we go right into the second one, which is the intensification of subjective awareness. And that's becoming aware of the depth with our own being, our own selves. So that's when you start to travel deeper into your self, into your unconscious, and you see new potentials and energies that you didn't see prior within yourself. So where you may, because a lot of people have a tendency to dissociate day to day, they're just busy, they're dealing with, I'm sure, untapped trauma and whatnot, and you just get to a state where things just, you get separated. So this part is where you start to realize yourself as a person and what you enjoy and what things, potentials you have as a person. So then
Yeah,
the
and I
third.
think that's, oh, sorry, one
No, no,
just
go ahead.
I just wanted to add to that, like with the second is that self-awareness is everything. I literally was just bringing this up to someone today, that when we're in these moments of transformation, self-transformation, and things are coming up, we're breaking through really intense, behavioral patterns or emotional patterns or anything like that. What really makes the difference of how you experience it, whether that be a very pleasant or as pleasant as it can be type of experience versus just like a sudden, shock or trauma or anything like that, is that self-awareness, is that
Yep.
being able to be very aware of your own personal energetic field, your body, your mind, all of that. So I love that.
And
Can you,
considering your
yeah.
wants and needs, because I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't really take the time to do, is like they're always putting out and doing so much and going through the day-to-day process that they don't acknowledge what they need and what they want and what will bring themselves happiness because they're focused on everything external. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, you're good. That's on point. I was just gonna ask, could you repeat that um the awareness, or yeah, for two,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
for what you
It's
just
called
mentioned?
the intensification of subjective awareness.
Subjective awareness. Cool. I love this.
So
This is
then
the stuff I love. I love this
I
stuff.
I do too, and I feel like it brings a different layer to understanding. Like your dreams play a big role in your awakening. But if you don't even know what to look for when you're awakening, how are you going to know how to navigate any of it? I think I mean, even just me going over it, even though I had prior knowledge of these things, going through it again is kind of re, re introducing myself to these concepts. Like, they're not the definitions don't spin around in my head all day long every day. So
Yeah.
it's nice to bring it back from out of the shadows and
Yeah.
into the light.
Yeah.
But I'll go right ahead to the third stage, which is the expansion of intersubjective awareness, aka our connection with other beings. So this is a new sense of empathy for everything around you. You know, you see people as individuals rather than NPCs in your world. You acknowledge that they have their own struggles, their own emotions, their own lives that they're living, and you know that goes hand in hand with
Mm.
animals, Mother Earth,
Mm-hmm.
insects, like everything. Like, you just become aware of your connection with these things. Um, and then that, of course, is associated with compassion and altruism.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fourth stage is called the expansion of conceptual awareness. And I quoted this entire paragraph because I felt like in order for me to explain it correctly, I just had to do it
Oh yeah.
what
Sometimes you
was
just have,
written.
it's so well written that you just have to go for that.
Exactly. So he says, we transcend a narrow, egocentric perception in which our ambitions and personal interests are paramount. We attain a world centric awareness in which social and global issues are as important or more important than personal issues. We no longer identify with a particular nation, religion, ethnic group.
Mm-hmm.
If we have any sense of identity, it is that we are human. I'm sorry, it is just with the human race as a whole. We feel a kinship with all other human beings despite differences in nationality, appearance, or ethnicity. Um, so obviously, like me just quoting that paragraph, it was a lot, but I felt like it said everything that I needed it to say to,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
it made sense. And that's, you know, that is a really important aspect. I also want to acknowledge that you're going to go through all four of these stages over and over and over again
Oh
because you're
yeah.
continuously having spiritual awakening. Like, I can't even tell
Yeah.
you how
And
many
with,
I've had because it's so frequent for everybody.
yeah. Oh yeah. No, as long as you're a human being, you're going to be experiencing this. And with is this the last one, the last
Yep, the
stage of
fourth one. I'm sorry.
awareness
Yes.
awakening? Yeah. So this one to me, when you were reading that paragraph, I got the vision of, when we're all kids, we see the image of like the globe or the world and all of these different children or people of different colors, races, ethnicities, nationalities, like just all holding hands surrounding the world. That's literally what came to my mind when you were reading that. And I think that is at our deepest, at our core of just being a human being, and just without the trauma, without, all the heaviness. I do feel that that is what we all desire, is that
Oh,
connectedness and just
absolutely.
to be able to coexist, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not asking you to change. Please don't ask me to
Nope.
change.
Nope.
Like, let's just do us. Let me just be me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that, I feel like that was a beautiful way to point out that state of expansion or awakening. Really, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
I agree. I thought that article was really beautiful. It was to the point and neutral. Like, I felt that the information given was very to the point and understandable. And I feel like just knowing these things is going to help you significantly with identifying your own progress.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned, as you were telling me about this article, how these four different stages are also experienced in our dreams. Like as
Yep.
you become more and more awakened or conscious within your dream space, you also experience these four stages, right? And it's
Yep.
always expanding. And, sometimes it can feel maybe that you're not experiencing, or maybe you have a period where it's just you experience all of that and then it gets kind of
Hmm.
quiet and you might not be able to remember your dreams, or yeah. So I feel that cycle within these stages of awakening happens. It absolutely happens in the dream space.
I agree 100%.
So the next point I want to go to is a good question actually that to ask or to bring forth is, how can a dream give rise to this experience? So we have the dreams, and yes, while we experience those stages within the dream, and that's kind of a side conversation, but it's also a part of it, and we'll probably touch on that again. But to more so bring our attention to how a dream can kind of prompt these states of awareness. One of the things I noted I mean, we all know this, you really have to begin a practice of writing your dreams. Like that's essential, at least in the beginning.
Absolutely.
Once you have had experience, years, or just time with writing your dreams, like it waxes and wanes. Like Alexis and I were talking how right now it's been challenging to like actually write it down, and we've been
Yes.
experiencing, I know you have, or I know I have, and I'm pretty sure you have
Yes.
you've been experiencing these phases, these awakening stages in the dream. Like they've been so vivid, it's been connected, we've been experiencing this, and it's been so moving to the point of it's just a kind of a lot to write down, because it's like hard to put it
Yes.
into words. Even though you can put it into words, it's just the experience it's hard to do that.
It's a lot. I mean, try writing down your day with all of the details. Like all the details from like the smell of the building you were in to, the color the sky was. That's basically what you're doing when you're writing your dreams down is you're writing a memory. You're
Mm-hmm.
like you just experienced this thing and now you're trying to write every single detail. And it's just as difficult if you were to try to do that in your day to day with your waking life.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Especially, yeah.
I was just going to say, not having expectations for yourself with this and just riding with what feels right is what's going to help you through that, because if you're hard on yourself for not doing these things, you're not going to feel you're not going to feel like you're moving forward. You're going to feel kind of stuck. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
holding yourself back because you're upset with yourself. So letting
Mm-hmm.
go of that aspect of like, yeah, it's important to document, especially in the beginning, but your whole journey isn't going to be a consistent documentation unless you are incredibly disciplined. And
Yeah.
I am not.
Right. I'm pretty good, but I let myself have my cycles, and I've
Yeah.
learned not to beat myself up about it. And so, yeah, when it comes to these spiritual awakening experiences that arise from dreams, I feel that there's like when you're really in the meat of it, the spiritual awakening, as far as like maybe you have been feeling stuck for a while, and then all of a sudden you have like a vivid dream or something crazy and profound happens in the dream, and it's like you want to write it down, right? Like you feel the inspiration. So I feel like it can go many different ways of how you experience this. But I think that when it comes to what we discuss here, as far as like the dream work and the healing and the self transformation and integrating that with like that dream work practice with those intentions, it means a lot when you can write them down, even if it's, we talk about this all the time, and I'm guilty of not doing this, but even if it's how you felt when you woke up, or
Yeah.
just maybe one main theme that you experience in the dream. And I know for me, it's my resistance with that, or why I don't do it all the time, is because I know as soon as I put pen to paper that it's going to be an hour.
oh, you're gonna end up writing a chapter book. It's like it's inevitable. Like that's definitely why I haven't been, is because it's just excuse me, just so much work and energy. And I just don't always have that energy to put into it. And I would love to, but we're humans given only a certain amount of energy and time of the
Mhm.
day to be able to get everything done that we have to get. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll write chapter books of our dreams if given the opportunity, because you can they're so expansive. It's just
Yeah. So I'll just add here too, before we get more into this question that I presented, but I did do a poll on my Instagram story, and I'm going to share the results of that here in a minute. But I just want to share one of the comments that I received, or message that I received about this whole experience. And this person that reached out to me, or just messaged me, that they literally are in the midst of they feel this like grand rising, like this awakening coming forth, and they had been doing a lot of clearing in their life currently, and then they had a tarot reading, and then that night they had a really powerful dream in which they felt compelled to write the dream. And it was, I think it was 2 pages, like, no, maybe they typed it because it was like no spaces really. And it was just, I think they were writing for like an hour, but it just reminded me what we were just talking about, reminded me when you're in those moments, you're in those moments, and you will feel compelled to, you're like, I don't want to forget this. It brought forth this amazing feeling. I know they mentioned that it was somewhat like prophetic, or precognitive, if anything. Like they had an immediate synchronicity when they woke up from the dream. And so it was a bit interesting. And so that is definitely something you will experience, those profound dreams, and it makes so much, it's so powerful to write it down, you know.
absolutely, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. And even if the thing is too, is like if you don't end up writing down those very powerful ones, those types of dreams stick in your memory forever, and they're very strong. The
Mm-hmm.
reason that it's important to write it down, though, is because over time your brain can change memories.
Mm-hmm.
So you may have the main point correct, but then the little details around it that are just as important as that main point will disappear over time. So
Yeah.
I feel like you don't necessarily have to write it down, but you would really benefit from it.
Yeah, it's always beneficial to do so. And even more
Absolutely.
so, another reason for that is, as we titled in this live chat, that how a series of dreams. So more than likely, if it's something that's really important, something that's really meaningful, and you're already in the midst of a spiritual awakening, or you feel yourself in a place where you're searching for guidance and answers, and you're kind of stuck, and then you have like one dream that's really powerful, 9 times out of 10 it's not going to be just the one dream, right?
Correct.
And so that is why I felt more inspiration, or compelled to even title this, how a series of dreams. And I have had my own experience with this as well. I'm sure, Alexis, you have too, and those of you are watching, a lot of you have had it. um, Another way that the dream can give rise to this experience is that the dream may be really, really vivid and profound, in the sense that it feels like it's almost like reality. Like you might wake up confused that, what was that? Like it, there might be this feeling of deja vu, or maybe you're just like, oh, I thought, yeah, that was a dream. Like it's just kind of confusing. And we
It
talked
is.
about this in our chat about the House of Dragon, um, with Damon, and that the Cursed Castle Harrenhal that he was in, the confusion and the blending of your waking life with your dream life. If you're having a series of dreams that are very vivid, and they are almost like reflections of your life with subtle differences, that right there brings forth that process of awakening, because it is really, it's helping you with that first stage that you mentioned, the perceptual awareness of, the environment and the world around you. Like you're really starting to pay attention, because it's very, there's something different, the essence of having that experience in a dream.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things, like, just to excuse me, talk about that, one of the things I notice with having that type of dream is for the rest of the day, I will feel like I'm an in between state between awake and asleep. Like I
Mm-hmm.
never really truly woke up. I still am feeling a huge residual effect from the dream that I had. And
Mm-hmm.
that like I will literally up until like 5, 6 p.m. feel like I'm still kind of in a dream realm.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting and you know it when you have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that goes into another point of the experiencing synchronicities between the dream and your waking life. So it could be, maybe there was an animal or some sort of sound or someone said something that had like you experienced that in your dreams, which that could also be considered precognitive in some sense, especially if
Mm-hmm.
it's like again with the person that I was just talking about, what they were dreaming about, they woke up in the morning to a text of someone asking them for, it was just like a random, request. Oh, I need the code to this thing. And that was like a big deal within the dream or like an aspect of the dream. I don't know actually if it was a big deal, but it was definitely something that occurred in the dream of finding a code or a lock for something. And then what are the odds you wake up to a text with a request about that?
Yeah,
And
it's
it's not
so
something
cool.
planned. It wasn't anything for work or anything like that. So it's like these synchronicities that start coming through really are opening up your states of consciousness and like how you perceive the world around you. And
Oh,
then
absolutely.
mm-hmm, yeah, and then you begin to feel that connection, right, to just the world around you, like feeling more connected, like, oh, there's something going on here. Like, what is this about? Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. It's really and like I said before, when you start experiencing it, you start like that's you'll know because it's
Mm-hmm,
so profound. I mean, my biggest one that I had was in like 20, I want to say 2021 or 2022. I can't remember at this point, but it still like sticks with me like holy crap that happened. That
mm-hmm,
happened. What is reality? What is real? What is going on? How do I explain this? There's no explanation for this. It just brings your a shift in yourself and how you view the world. It's
mm-hmm,
so cool. That's why it's so important, especially the more like I struggle with this aspect even more than I struggle with writing my dreams. But once you get to the point where you're now breaking down your dreams and sitting with a dream dictionary and thinking about how it relates to you and the dream, like having the dream dictionary help you kind of get these messages out. And then you start to see even further into that. Like it is expansive.
mm-hmm. So yeah, and that too, note taking and journaling, and you begin to also see repetitive symbols or repeating themes, people in your dream, places in your dream. That's something that again, it takes that ability to connect with your dreams and be aware of them. And this is another reason why writing them would be really important, because you begin to see the patterns. Like once I know I've always had dreams about, traveling and like, whether it be through car or whatever. But it wasn't until I started to do the dream work and I was in the middle of a grand rising, like a transformation from my old self, formerly known as Portia, to Urania. And I was already, I think I was, when I started doing dream work consistently, intentionally, I was probably about two-thirds into this awakening or, and so I started paying attention to my dreams, started writing them. And I was realizing I was having all of these dreams about cars and driving. And it was very rare that I was the one driving. And, when you dig into dream work, and even as, an avid dreamer, if you have like, your practice and you've been doing dream work for a while, it's still fun to look in the dream dictionary.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
so, yeah, it's like, okay, I'm seeing this a lot. Like you have your own perspective, your own connection to what that might mean, as like I was named after a car. But then also it's interesting to see what, generally that means in dreams, to see if there's like any synchronicity or if it sparks, new ideas or new aha moments. And what I learned is like, when you're specifically, when it comes to cars, with like in travel, it indicates, your life direction, or how you navigate your life. There's so many different things to look at, but also they pointed out, are you the one driving? Are you the one in control of the movement where you're going? And 9 times out of 10, or they say, if you're not in control, then that can be an indicator that you are not in control of the navigation of your life, the direction of your life. And that was major for me, because with so many things, I've talked about this, so I'm not going to get into details, but basically it was a powerful realization, and it cemented my awakening and my decision to like legally change my name. And it really kind of accelerated me to embody or live the life basically that I desire, and stop being apologetic or allowing other people's, opinions and things to influence how I live my life and where I'm going within my journey. And so those repetitive symbols and themes will definitely, give rise to the spiritual awakening or assist and accelerate you in the process.
Absolutely. That makes so much sense. And I completely agree with that. And, you know, having a lot of these experiences, it's still super important, like you said, to write them down and look into them, because even if there's consistencies, they change with your life. As you progress, your experiences change in the waking
Mm-hmm.
realm and in the dream realm. So things are going to shift. Like it's never, I think that's why it's so interesting to study dreams, is because it's never the same thing. And when it is, the emotions are different. Like I've been going through this right now where like I've been having my dream space lately has been odd because I'm having repeat dreams, but the repeat dreams are much longer. Like I'm spending months within this dream space, and my emotions are more detached than they used to, where it was more anxiety driven. And even looking into the aspect of these things, and what the length of time could mean, what the lack of emotion could mean, like what that all could signify within the dreams and also in my real life, like in my waking life. um I find this so fascinating. I really do. It's the no matter where in your life you are, your dreams are always going to be relevant to you and help guide you in
Yeah.
the ways that you
Yeah.
need.
Yeah, I still, every so often, I still have my car dreams. And I know for a period I was like, usually now I feel that I'm usually driving. Every so often there is someone else driving, but it's so interesting because it's like, that's for me, I think that is a very personal symbol, a dream symbol, because I was named after a car. Like literally, my mom wanted to have a
Yeah.
Porsche. She had me at like, I think she was 20 years old when she had me. She couldn't afford one. So she said, I'll name my daughter one so I could have one. So there was already that instant, like connection to a car. And it just fascinates me how my psyche just loves to throw that symbol in there in my dreams. And it evolves and changes as I evolve and change too. So that's something I think once you really start getting into the dream work and have like a log of dreams, I always recommend for people, if you're going through something, if you feel stuck, if you're trying to uncover or lock some sort of something hidden within your unconscious mind, write your dreams and really pay attention to the symbols. And that essentially, that's like the meat of the dreams. It's so much
Yeah.
fun, especially the people and the dreams and whatnot, and where you end up. Like sometimes for people, the places, like whether you're in a specific house all the time, and it could be a house that you grew up in or a house you don't even know. And that's kind of a fun thing to dive deep into if that's showing up for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I actually have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah, no.
so even though you more recently started doing dream work, like within the last like 5 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've been dreaming your entire life.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Do
Like
you
I've
remember?
lucid dream. Oh, God.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, I've been doing it I just haven't been writing them, but my dreams
Yeah.
and lucid dreaming and all that stuff, yeah, it's been a long
So,
time.
do you remember the first time you felt that awakening from a dream?
Yeah, my nearest dream, because there was a period that I didn't really remember my dreams. Like if you ask me about dreams when I was little, I'm always impressed when people are like, "Oh, I remember this nightmare I had when I was like 4 years old." I'm like, "Wait, what?" Like people actually, I know, I'm like, people actually remember that. But so my nearest, so there was a big chunk of time, and I know that it had to do with like I blocked out things in actual life too from that time because of like losing my
Mhm.
grandmother and so many things. So my first dream that I can recall right now of a spiritual awakening was in 2017, and it was shortly after I think, yeah, I had already quit my job, and I was like, I'm going to devote myself to my spiritual practice and astrology and just doing this professionally, but I'm like devoting my life to it. So
Yep.
I like wanted to stop working and immerse myself in just that. And I remember that I had a dream, and I don't think it was a lucid dream, but it was conscious. It was a conscious dream. But
Mhm.
anyways, I was in a vintage store, a thrift store, but it was like my grandmother's house and it was her store, and I was there with someone and we were looking at things. And long story short, I picked up I had some things, but then I came across Mother Mary Oracle, which is an actual deck. And I think I've seen it like once or twice in waking life. And I dropped everything and got that deck. And I was like, Mother Mary Oracle, Mother. Like I woke up being like, Mother Mary Oracle. And literally that day I went to the store and got the deck. And I just that period, that time period was like, it was such a beautiful time for me because I would wake up in the morning and do my trance meditations. I would just be like gone astral
Oh,
traveling. I was learning, I was taking spiritual classes for channeling and mediumship. It was just such a beautiful time. And when I came across this oracle, it also opened me up to learning more about like divine feminine and archangels and things of that nature. So I that like when I think about a spiritual awakening, that dream was something that really like it expanded me, it inspired me because I felt like that was a spirit guide or like some sort of divine communication, like, hey, like you need this, because it wasn't a deck I was really interested in. I wasn't really I didn't feel connected to Mother Mary, but the feeling that I had in the dream, I knew that I needed to get that deck.
that's
So
incredible.
yeah.
I love that. Now, do you pick up that deck and still kind of like get that feeling from your dreams, or like,
um Not so. I'm actually about to gift it to someone.
oh,
So,
that's
which is
perfect.
hard because it's such a sentimental deck. But you know how when like this happened when I was gifting you, it wasn't as sentimental, but still I was gifting you a crystal that I had just recently gotten. I was like, I love this crystal, but spirit was saying like, no, give it to Alexis. And I
Yep.
know like I have to listen to that. And so with this deck, I haven't really used it in a while. And it's funny, there's a journal with the artwork is so beautiful, and there's like a big book in a journal that you can use with it with the bigger images of the cards in the book. And I just bought it. I haven't used it, and I was also guided to give it to that person too with the deck.
I love
Really?
that.
But she's gonna love it. She's gonna love it.
That's
um
fantastic.
yeah,
Wow, that's
so
incredible.
what about you?
So I have two major life dreams that stick out to me. Like
So what was your very
I've been
first one? Do you remember?
okay. So the very first one I had when I was 3. It was the first time I lucid dreamed too.
Wow.
And the dream was me and my aunt, and we were in this void, and in the void was a circle of stadiums, individual stadiums, or like individual like risers with their own mirror that had to be like huge, and it was in a
Mhm.
circle, so with spaces in between, and there were monsters coming out from the spaces in between the mirrors,
Mhm.
and I knew I had to guide my aunt and myself out through the void to escape this. And that was my first lucid dream, but it also was the first time that I had been open to a different type of awareness. You know, I was still a child, so it
Right.
wasn't that
That's crazy.
expansive, but it was enough for me to just view life a little bit differently. I had just a, a, a wider range of emotion and understanding than I had prior to that. Still a child, so it's not that much, but the difference was there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a big deal. 3 years old. Like, I can't imagine.
I mean, I've had these feelings many times. I mean, I'll never forget like the time I had an awakening when I was like 7 years old. I was just like I had woken up from a dream that was really intense, and I was walking in the bathroom and I just stared at myself, and all of a sudden, I like it was almost like a level, like a layer was peeled back, and I was like, wait, I'm
Mm,
existing as a person right now. Like
yeah.
I'm real. This
It's
is
like,
real.
wait.
I'm here. Death is real. Life is real. Birth. What? Like those like you know the experience, everybody goes through them, even if you're not completely aware of it when it's happening. You can kind of look
Mm-hmm.
back and be like, oh yeah, I remember when this happened to me. But
Mm-hmm.
having those experiences are so just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like just
Yeah.
you're like listening to your experience where you just went full throttle into who you truly were. That's such a powerful moment in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll never forget this point in your life where you transitioned completely from the person you used to be to the person you are now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Yeah, no,
it's
it's
crazy.
it's incredible. Yeah, I will never, I don't even think I wrote, I feel like I did write that dream somewhere. And it was interesting because the dream I had as far as the with the Oracle, and that was a really interesting time too, because I think that was in the same week, definitely within the same week or two, that I had made the dream sachet, and I wrote a letter to my spirit guides, and this was like an Edgar Casey, who, if you guys aren't familiar, he's known as a sleeping prophet, as he would go into like, I think it's like the hypnagogic state, the in between, basically that state, and he would like, do readings for people, and he was pretty spot on. And
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure there were more, things that well, obviously he, presented this practice of um, writing a letter to your spirit guides, or maybe your higher self, to asking them a question, possibly, or insight for something, and with the intention that it will come through your dreams. For me, I wanted to know my spirit guides in order of like domination, so who's most dominant to the least most dominant. I
Oh,
knew it was
okay.
several, and I didn't get my answer in the dream. I ended up getting it in trance meditation. But this dream that I had with the deck was in that same week or two of doing that whole thing. So I was like in a space of like, woo, like this
Yeah. Well,
really
and that's cool
cool
too because
vibe.
you asked this question, and the deck has a variety of different
That's
ones.
true.
So
Yeah.
like it's like, oh, I'll help guide you, but you're gonna have to figure that out on your own
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
your
I
experiences.
definitely learned that Mother Mary, and it wasn't through the deck, but it was just it um piqued my curiosity in Mother Mary. And I think she was coming up anyways, with the teacher I was working with, because she works with like ascended masters and archangels and all those type of
Mm-hmm.
um energies. And I learned that she was considered to be the queen of the angels, like all the archangels. And
Ooh.
there was just so many different connections, and it opened up, like it just really expanded me. And so, and I, like I said, I would never have, wouldn't have chosen, Mother Mary. So that was cool. One of the other points that I wanted to talk about here too is another aspect of dream or dream series that can give rise to a spiritual awakening is nightmares, recurring nightmares. That's a
Yes.
big one.
Yep.
If you can like face those or be present with them, I know that I feel like nightmares to me, they feel they're more giving more of an urgency. So
Yep.
there's more of oomph to them, right?
More
Like they
shock.
can excel, yeah, more shock. Like that fear factor is like, hey, this is important. Like you want to, remember this, you want to pay attention to what's being shown to you. And, I've had a few people reach out to me since we've been doing this chat about their dreams. And it wasn't necessarily a nightmare, but it was, things within the dream that were really scary and dark.
Hmm.
And that's kind of the first thing I tell people is that you also want to take into account just the nature of like, consider the whole dream, your
Hmm.
feelings within the dream, maybe before that happened, after that happened, what was going on, who was in it, where you were, because there's something within that dream that's really important. And that fear factor is there 9 times out of 10. So you pay attention or you won't forget this dream. Because
Yep.
most of the few people that I chatted with about this, they've had similar dreams, but this time it was kind of scary, right? So your psyche is like,
Absolutely.
hey, like, no, you want to pay attention to this. And I feel that when you are able to sit with those nightmares, write them down, I mean, that's a really hard one, I will say from my own experience. Um, just the writing it down is transformative within itself because you're
Hmm.
like facing the fear by seeing it out on paper and pulling it out of you. So
Yep.
that within itself can really give that what stage 2, the intensification of subjective awareness,
Yep.
self-awareness. Um, yeah, it's a big
Yeah.
deal.
And to add to that, when you have a nightmare, a lot of the times you experience a trauma within your dream space. Like it can be very
Mm-hmm.
traumatizing to have a nightmare.
Yeah,
And when
yeah.
you write down these dreams and dissect it, it's a way for you to heal whatever is causing the nightmare and the experience of the nightmare itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So definitely pay attention to those recurring nightmares. So we're almost at the top of the hour. I want to share the results from the poll that I did on my Instagram story. Alexis and I really enjoy doing this. So
Yes.
there will be more polls.
Oh,
And because we
absolutely.
really desire to know what's going on with other people, what's going on in the collective, we like to do the polls because that's, a easier way to just participate and we can all learn from one another.
Yeah, more convenient way to participate and a little more
Easy, yeah.
anonymous.
Yeah, yeah. So the question that I posed for this poll was, have you experienced a spiritual awakening from a series of dreams? Essentially the title of this. So 13 people voted yes. No one voted no. I had 6 people view the story. So, maybe the no's were like, no one just, there was no response. Or maybe people are observing this like none of my business, and that's fine. Um, but 13 people voted yes. And I was getting, people were messaging and people were liking it, even if they didn't, participate in the poll. They liked the story. So I'm like, okay, I'm getting a lot of feedback. So I asked a second question, and I did pose, the spirit, did you experience a spiritual awakening in the sense of, guidance to a new life direction, or maybe, uncovering some new or breaking through an old belief system, or acquiring a new perspective or something of that nature. So then I wanted to be a little bit more specific. Okay, so how many of you guys have experienced this? How many of you embraced it, right? Or like you've experienced these type of dreams that brought forth this feeling or, invitation, right? I feel like it's like, can you avoid a spiritual awakening? I mean, I guess you can kind of resist it, but you don't really have a choice too.
I think you can go
So,
through it and not learn from it.
right. And so my second question was, did you embrace your new life direction or new perspective? And we got some crickets. We only got 5 people that voted yes. No one voted no. I actually didn't write how many people viewed this story. Um, but and then one person sent me a personal message and they said both, which I was like, oh shoot, I should have added that to the options because it's like she is embracing it as much as she can. Like there's both,
Yeah,
and this is the true experience. Like you're embracing
absolutely.
it, but you're also kind of resisting because of the uncertainty. And, yeah, there's just a lot. There's a lot of nuance within
Absolutely.
that. So that was really cool. And I appreciate, those of you who participated in the polls. I always
Yes,
enjoy doing
thank you.
that.
we really love hearing from the community. Dream
Yeah.
work is something that has been pushed out of, at least Western uh, popularity, or, whatever, the Western eye, and
Western culture. Yeah.
Western
Yeah.
culture. And, it's a shame because it really is such a beneficial way for you to understand yourself in this existence. So we really want to encourage you to look into yourselves and experience these things and learn from it to make your life just a little bit easier.
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
take what we can get.
Yeah. And if you feel that you're in the place of like, if you haven't had any dreams that have brought this forth, or you're currently in a space of you may feel stuck or in need of some guidance, or maybe you want a spiritual awakening, definitely start paying attention to your dreams. You can always set an intention before you go to bed to receive the guidance that will expand you or bring about the 4 stages of awakening that Alexis shared with us. You can definitely start moving towards that, even if you haven't been experiencing that through your dreams. It's literally um, it's right here. It's right here for you. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video with the 8-8 portal energy, just where we are right now, I feel like we're in an opening. This is like such a major place or space of opportunity. And I do feel that this window is going to be open for like up until, well, I'm not going to say up until, but definitely as we get closer to the Aquarius full moon, because that full moon
Absolutely.
is a big deal.
So
Um,
excited for that.
I'm really excited. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, do we want to share dreams? What are you feeling?
I'm
What do you,
good with whatever you want. If you feel comfortable sharing, I can kind of go into, like, another very important spiritual awakening I had from a
oh,
dream.
yeah. Yeah.
But you go ahead and go, and whatever you feel comfortable with, I'm along for the ride.
I mean, honestly, my dream is not in alignment with the spiritual awakening. And so I kind of think I want to save it for
Okay.
something else. But I mean, if you want to share, I would love to hear that. I mean,
Yeah,
I kind
I'll
of share
just
my spiritual awakening, experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that my most recent, very, very big spiritual awakening from that was influenced from my dream was in, I want to say, I feel terrible because I can't remember right now whether or not my grandfather died in 21 or 22. But one of
Mm.
those years, he passed away. I had a dream the Wednesday prior to him passing of him falling out of bed and passing
Mm.
away, watching his spirit like kind of walk down the street and disappear, and then being alone with my grandmother. Now, this was Wednesday. That had such an intense effect on me, and I didn't understand what it meant because my grandfather was still alive and fine, nothing was going on. Well, come that Monday, he fell out of bed, had to go to the hospital, and passed away.
Oh my
And
goodness.
after that experience, my entire life was kind of just like put into a spiral because when I was about 16, 17 years old, I kind of went totally against any kind of spiritual religion stuff and went full like atheism.
Hmm.
And so I was kind of going through my own spiritual, like I was stuck. But when this happened, like little things were going on throughout the years that pulled me in that direction. But when
Hmm.
this dream specifically happened, it was life changing and really opened my perspective up in a way that I can't explain. Like it is
Hmm.
something that you have to experience yourself to know what it feels like.
Yeah.
And I've been on this path of understanding life from a different perspective for the last several years now, and it's just led to my own health improving, like mental, emotional, spiritual health improving, and becoming more in tune with my own self. So that was definitely a turn for me.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I could see how that could just be almost like what came in my head was wake up call, like how it's just like, oh, wait, yeah, there's something going on here, and it brings in that interconnectedness.
Yeah, the
And
questioning of what it could have
yeah,
been, like
yeah, it's
why
like
could it have
how.
been my grandfather communicating with me, or
Hmm.
a high like the universe, or my own intuition, my own ability to see
Hmm.
further
And
with
just like
important
your
things.
relationship to dreams and how, I mean, did you feel, and I know we've talked about this before, did you feel in the event of, having that dream and then it happening, I mean, prepared's not the best word, but did you
Oh
feel
no,
like,
I felt absolutely prepared.
okay, because it's
I really
like
felt
if you
like
didn't have the dream and then that just happened, it would probably be more.
it would have definitely been more
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah.
When I had the dream Wednesday, he passed away on Monday. Sunday, the day before he passed away, I cried all day. I listened to
Mm,
music he used to sing me. I wrote him a goodbye
mm,
letter. I mourned his death before I even knew that he was going to pass away. I felt the
mm,
sadness and the closeness to that edge
mm.
until I found out he passed away. And
Wow.
I remember like my sister coming over and like kind of falling into tears, of course. And I was just kind of like in a
Mm,
state of shock, but also kind of a state of peace because I
mm-hmm.
already knew what was going to happen, even though I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel those type of dreams too, where, it, and not always, someone dying, so to speak, but just having that really like fast or short period between like you have like the dream and then some aspect of that comes to fruition.
Yep.
And I mean, what I've been experiencing, what I've been seeing is that a lot of the times that when it happens where it's something that is very sad or traumatic or anything, or losing someone, it is this feeling of, I don't know what it is about, if you like just having a heads up or whatever, but it does bring some sense of peace with it, because especially if you're someone who is seeking connection with the divine and deep connection with yourself, and just like even existing in whatever this world is or this reality is, it really validates the connection, like you're something is there connecting with you, or you're protected, or there's something there. And while this, I don't, well, I would say it kind of brought forth a little bit of it was a part of my awakening journey as far as like what I've been experiencing recently. And um because I had a dream, and you knew about this because I was like talking to you about this, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's funny now, I can't really remember. Oh, I had a dream about it. Basically, I don't, it's funny, I don't remember exactly what happened in my dream, but there was something that happened in my dream. And oh, it was dealing with the moon, It was like some planetary alignments. And I was in the dream, I was in this like not tavern or like a lounge or something, but it was very secret. And I didn't know I was going there. And I was just going in a strip mall, and I like went into this place between two actual places. So it was like almost like going in between
Ooh,
the walls. And
yeah.
I end up in this space, and it's like I knew when I got in there, I was like waiting in line. And as soon as I saw these fortune teller ladies, I knew exactly where I was, and I was just so excited. And they pulled some cards, all the cards were good, and then they showed me, I just saw the nine of swords in passing, or she was saying, not all the cards in the tarot deck are good. And as she was saying that, the nine of swords flipped over, and she mentioned something about paying attention to the moon. And I was supposed to see a second fortune teller, but I ended up waking up. And I'm pretty sure I was lucid. I was definitely conscious in it. I don't remember if I was lucid. But I woke out of that, and I don't know, there was just so much like the feeling of the dream, and I felt the excitement, and I just felt like I was not in a dream, but maybe astral traveling. It felt really real and otherworldly. And so I was like, where's the moon right now? Like, what's going on? And I ended up, figuring out that I think it was like in 2 days, the moon was going to be in Gemini, in this particular decan of Gemini, which corresponds to the Nine of Swords and Tarot. So it's like my mind knows how to speak to me because it knows how I will like break things down. And I'm like, okay, well, I got the tarot card. What's the astrology with the tarot card? If they're telling me to pay attention to the moon. Anyways, what had ended up happening 2 days later, when the moon was in this placement in Gemini, my mother texted me, giving me a heads up that the next day, so my mom texted me the night, and I think the moon was in Mars or moving into Mars or moving into Gemini the next day. But nonetheless, it was, my mom gave me a heads up that, hey, it's the 20th anniversary of your grandmother's passing.
Yep.
And I was
I
like,
remember this.
you remember? And I literally
I
messaged
remember
you like
this.
that night. It was late night. I'm like, why is she texting me this at like 11 o'clock at night? I'm about to go to bed. She always does that, the worst timing. I'm like, this is not what I want to think about at night. But I was so excited because it was so validating. Like I felt sad, but I was just like, oh my, because that was kind of like one of the first times I ever had something like that happen, that turnover really fast. And
Yep.
but then the next day I was like so many things started sinking in, of course, and I was like incredibly sad about it, but there was still this underlying energy and feeling of peace, preparation, like being prepared, being supported in some interesting way.
Yes. Protected
And
and supported.
so, yeah. And so it really deepened, even that, what was it about the empathy, that
Hmm.
connection with others. And yeah, so I feel like it hit all four of those states of awareness of the
Absolutely.
awakening.
And that's what I meant when I like earlier when I was talking about the stages. I said like you can have all these kind of at the same time. It goes up and down like depending on where your mental state is, emotional state, because you're
Mm-hmm.
an ever changing, ever evolving person, like being like you are going to experience all of these things in very complex personal ways.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just it's so interesting. Like
It's so
it's
so
so
cool.
cool. I'm just always in awe with it.
Yes. It's like I want everyone to do the dream work. Just try it
Oh,
out.
I know.
There's a lot. And I know you have to go through the darkness, to get, I mean, it's an ebb and flow. You get some of the gems, and then next thing you know, you're back into that dark space again with the dreams, and you're
Yep,
just like, okay. But the more and more you do it, the more you learn about yourself, your own psyche, and just what is there for you, and you grow and you heal, and it's accelerates your healing, because
absolutely.
it's there already. You're just not, in full connection with it. So it's kind of influencing your decisions, your patterns, just on a subconscious level. But when connect with it in dreams through dream work, then you're integrating the whole aspect of your consciousness, and you're making better decisions, you're self-aware, all those aspects those stages we talked about, you're experiencing those.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. Oh, this was such a good chat. I knew it was going to be. You knew it was going to
I
be.
know. I know. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm charged up. I'm
I
excited.
love it. I love it. This tea is kicking in. I'm drinking, everyone. I'm almost done with it, but it was blue lotus, rose powder, jasmine, lemon balm, and oat straw. So I just like, when I came in this chat, I was high energy, and now I'm just like, I can talk about dreams and all of these things like for hours.
Now that sounds delicious.
Yeah. All right, friends. Well, Alexa, do you have any last words you want to say? I should ask.
No, no, I just encourage everyone to pay attention to their dreams and you're given the tools. Now you take
Mm-hmm.
them and expand in your life
Run
with them.
along, little
It's run
ones.
along with them, but
Yeah, Christopher says, thank you for the chat. Thanks for being here. Thanks for participating with us. It's a very chill night, very quiet
mhm.
in the chat, which, again, there's a lot in our space that we're all dealing with. So I
Absolutely.
get
And I
it.
feel like not having a whole lot of people commenting today, I felt like we had an opportunity to really just flow between the two of us,
Yeah.
and with especially with how much passion we have for this specific topic,
Hmm.
it was nice. But I really
Yeah.
hope that you guys catch the replay
Yeah.
and
And
can
write down
comment.
those, take some notes from Alexis because
Yes.
I love what you share. I took some notes, but I'm gonna listen to the replay.
Yeah. Oh, and the article will be
Oh yeah,
tagged or
we'll
put.
post the
Yep.
article too.
Yep. But yeah, that's it. Just pay attention.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for watching. If you liked the video, please do us a favor and like this video. If you're watching the replay, definitely comment, share your experiences, your dreams, what's in your space right now, what's coming up for you. And yeah, subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you guys next week for the topic we choose. Have a good night.
Bye.